Change is not for everyone. Are you considering whether or not you actually want to do something? You actually want to create the change? It sounds good in theory, but like when we get down to it, do we really want to implement what it's going to take for us to get whatever it is that we're trying to go get? That's the question that keeps popping up. And that's the question I like to ask when I'm working with my coaching clients is, do you even want to create this change? It's totally up to you. I don't care. I mean, I'm happy either way. We can sit and talk and, listen. I can listen to what you have to say. And sometimes they just don't want to create the change. So that's fine. Maybe I'm not the right person for them to talk with. And we'll figure that out as we go through it. But for those that want to create change, that's what we're here for. That's what we're trying to share. And I have 5 more topics to talk about in regards to change. And my name is Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host of Business Vitality. With Business Vitality's podcast, we share business best practices, and I love to be able to pay it forward and to be able to share best practices. I've had too many people pour into me not to be able to return the favor and pour into whoever the next person is that's interested. So I'm grateful for the people that have helped me along the way. I can't repay them. They're retired. They're happy. They're doing their own thing. What I can do is pay it forward to the next group. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I work with teams. I work with individuals. We create measured leadership change using practical applications. Because they're practical, we are able to accelerate and sustain the results. 100% of my clients have created success. I'm extremely proud of the hard work, the commitment that they have made along the way. And today, I just want to continue to share. These are 5 more ideas around creating change. We've already done 5 that were recorded earlier. And I just thought, if you're interested, you want to keep learning, I'll record a few more. So I've got 5 more ideas around creating change. Also, I just want to be able to share an announcement that I'm going to open up 3 spots for the first quarter of next year. So for the month of December, if you're interested, email us at team@catherinecantey.com. And what you can do is apply to work with me. It would be one-on-one coaching, power coaching, but just between the 2 of us, we'll meet one-on-one, and it'll be for 90 days. And we will tailor the engagement based upon the goals that you want to be able to accomplish within the first 90 days of next year. And it will allow you to accelerate and create that change into next year. So I was speaking with one leader and they said, look, I just need somebody to talk to and I need someone to strategize with. I need practical application, sustainable change, and this is what I want to do. So I said, that sounds great. Let's do it 90 days. We'll reassess and go from there. And it kind of made me think, hey, why don't we open this up to just a couple others? So I've got 3 spots open right now. If you're interested, email us at team@catherinecantey.com. I can send the application, or my team will send the application over to you. Take a look at it, apply, see if you'd like to give it a shot, and we can work together one-on-one for 90 days. And I know that my clients, when they show up and they do the work, there is a little bit of work involved, of course, to create change. We can't just sit around on a lounge chair and pray for it. What we can do is own it and walk into it and create the change that we want, that we know that we deserve. And I know that my clients, even within 90 days, have been able to create measured success. So super proud of them. If there's a way to be able to continue to pay it forward and to be able to help you, let me know. So today we're talking about change, and I want to just kind of continue talking about it. And the first thing that I want to be able to share, I guess technically this is number 6 because I've already recorded 5. So number 6, let's just go ahead and say we're going to do 6 through 10 right now. Number 6 is, if you are uncomfortable, then change is taking place. That's okay. So just know that if you are uncomfortable, here I am making these videos. Yes, it is a little awkward. I am talking to myself in the office. I have a whole world of everything that's happening on the other side of these doors. And it feels a little weird to just sit here and talk to myself, knowing that I'm talking with you. But yeah, it's uncomfortable. This is not what I spent my first 25 years doing. I trained over 2,000 people in person, face to face, and traveled around the Southeast. I did that for probably a good 10 years, traveling around, developing sales materials, developing training materials, developing products, developing product materials. We started with all that stuff. And so I was out face to face looking at, 20 people at a classroom at a time, on top of business development roles, on top of, proposal management. We did a couple hundred proposals a year, on top of all that stuff. And this is different. So for the past 4 years, I've been shooting videos in my office, and it's uncomfortable to be able to hit record and talk to yourself in this video. And sometimes, if we're uncomfortable, that means that we're creating change. And over time, change will take place. And if you ever saw my first video, which I hope you never find, but if you find my first video, you're going to see that it is extremely uncomfortable. And I'm hoping that in 4 and 5 more years, that this will become a little bit more normal. So know that sometimes, if we are uncomfortable, that's change actually taking place. And so that anxiety feeling that we may be having, that's change. That's growth. That means that we're actually taking a step in that direction of that uncertainty of whatever that thing is that we're trying to get. And just know that growth, we've all heard this before probably, growth does not come from a place of comfort. And so we have to remember that this uncomfortable feeling is allowing us, this is this growth feeling. So maybe we change the word from anxiety to I'm feeling growth right now. I'm not feeling comfortable. I'm feeling growth. And a recent example, I just came home from a wellness weekend where I learned about nutrition and all that good stuff. I'm very curious into this whole world. I've been slowly studying it over 10 years. And I came home and, I wanted to kind of make different decisions on what I was going to be eating. And so as I do that, it's uncomfortable. I'm going to the store looking for ingredients that I didn't even know existed in the grocery store. But I know that, maybe if I go down a few new aisles, that I might be able to find some of these ingredients that might lead to better food decisions that make me feel better. So, it's just this constant tweaking, this constant curiosity, this constant, get a little bit more uncomfortable and see, is that the change that I want to create? Do I feel better at the end of the week? Do I feel worse? Like, let's just keep evaluating this and know that, as I went to this wellness experience to be able to learn about nutrition and sleep and exercise and all the stuff that we all know that we should know. But knowing it and then coming home and implementing it, it is very uncomfortable. So I know that I'm in a place of growth. I know I'm not in a place of comfort. Yeah, it'll make me feel a little nervous trying some of this stuff. And maybe it makes some other people uncomfortable along the way because they're used to seeing me do certain things. And here I am going down different aisles in the grocery store, having different types of food in the house. And just knowing that change creates uncomfort. And we got to work through it. We've got to be present and be able to figure out, is this something that I want to keep doing? And so that's the first thing, or number 6 is, if you're uncomfortable, then change is actually taking place. So if you want to create the change and you feel the uncomfortableness, you're moving in the right direction. So number 7 is growth scares other people. Just remember that. It scares other people. Yeah, it's scary ourselves, but sometimes we just make up our mind and we're going to do it. But even worse than that is it's scaring the heck out of all these other people that are around us. It is scaring them to death. They don't know what's happening. And we've all heard of this example called the crabs in the pot, and we're all happy as crabs in the pot. And then once we start to creep out of the pot, some crab is going to try to pull us back down. And we've got to figure out, how are we going to navigate that? And can we shake them loose along this change opportunity that we're creating for ourselves? Do we want to create this change? And as we get into it, know that our current environment is enabling us to stay where we are. And as we stay where we are, we're not going to create change. We're going to create comfort, and we're going to create ease, and we're going to create, no turmoil, and it's just going to be very peaceful. But maybe inside, we are chomping at the bit for more, and we need more, and we want more, but we can't because we're crabs that are in this pot. And as we try to climb out, people are going to pull us down. Ideas are going to pull us down. Thoughts in our head are going to pull us down. And so we've got to figure out, how are we going to navigate that, and to be able to have a plan to navigate through it and maybe anticipate this is what's going to be going on. How do we navigate and know that it's not necessarily us, but it's the other crabs in the pots that are getting uncomfortable with our growth. And so we've got to figure out, how do we navigate that? First, are we even aware that this is happening? And so we've got to create the awareness around that. And we have to know that we need to have a little bit of compassion for others, because not everybody wants to grow at the pace that you want to grow. Not everybody wants to be able to create change. And so knowing that this growth is not just scary for us, but it is scaring the other people pretty bad, because they know where you are, they know where you should be, and you're stretching and you're trying to grow, and they're going to be that crab in the pot that's going to try to keep pulling you down. So just have compassion for the other folks, that they aren't ready for the growth, they're not ready for the change, and just know that they're probably more scared than even you are, because they know where the comfort is and they're comfortable in it. And you've got the curiosity, and you have the wants and the needs to be able to stretch and to be able to grow. So today we're talking about change. My name is Cantey. I'm an executive coach and a podcast host of Business Vitality. I'd love to be able to share business best practices, and we do that on Business Vitality. We also, I love to be able to interview other people and ask what's working for them, because if we can learn from others, that's what it's all about. And so I love to be able to just kind of highlight the successes that they've had along the way, and to be able to share it with others. I work with teams, I work with individuals, and we create measured leadership change. We do that using practical applications. Because we use practical applications, we're able to accelerate the results and sustain the results. 100% of my clients have been able to create measured success. I'm super proud of them. And I love to be able to just continue to learn and to pay it forward. And as one client shared with me this past week, we had an agenda for a meeting, and I ask at the end of the calls, what do you like? What do you want me to change about our coaching calls? And they said, we had the agenda, but I really needed this. And we were able to get through what I needed to work through and tailor it to my particular needs in the moment, while still getting the other stuff done. But I really had this pressing issue, and we were able to get through it. And so for me, it's important to tailor our conversations to real world experiences that are happening for you, in order for you to get the best bang for your buck, in order for you to be able to take lessons learned and to be able to share it, to be able to implement it, to be able to, take the results and use them for you. So I like to be able to tailor the conversations based off of the examples that you bring during the coaching calls. I like to be able to tailor the examples just based off of your particular needs. And so it's a lot of fun to be able to work with clients. And I think that's how they're able to create a lot of success, is they share these journeys along the way. And part of that allows us to tailor the conversations, to do the role playing along the way. And we did a couple of role playing yesterday, and it was kind of funny. I have a newer client, and he was role playing with himself on the call. I said, "You just realized you role played with yourself the whole time." And they just kind of chuckled. And so we had to break it down. I said, "I'm going to role play with you. You can't just answer all the role playing questions." And then I had another client that I worked with who's done a lot of role playing. And we just did a whole, 12-minute role playing session. And I didn't know where it was going to go, but it got us through to the example for him to be able to implement that real world experience. And so, sometimes we just tailor the stuff to fit the unique needs of the conversation, and that's how we can create change. We listen to what people need, and we help them navigate through that. So, also, I want to be able to share with you an offer that I've got for the month of December. I'm opening up 3 spots for clients for one-on-one coaching, for power coaching, for just 90 days. You get to work with me just one-on-one for 90 days. And set some goals, and I'll be here to support you and have the phone calls with you one-on-one in order for you to set off that first quarter on fire and lead you into the rest of the year. So today we're talking about change, which, kind of ties into, hey, how do you want to set up for your new year? And if you're interested, you want to work with me for 90 days with one of those 3 spots, let me know. Email me at team@catherinecantey.com. We'll send the application over to you. But at the core of all this is change. And do we want to create change? And so I did a video of 5 things to create change. And now I'm going through number 6. 6 was, if you're uncomfortable, then change is taking place. As much as we like that, it's kind of true. Like or not like, it's kind of true. If we're uncomfortable, then we're probably changing. The number 7 was, growth scares others. Scares others probably more than it scares ourselves, because they're going to begin to question themselves and wonder, what am I doing, and why can't they just come back and be in this pot of crabs with the rest of us. And then number 8 I want to share with you is, let's weigh the pros and cons. Again, this is just a practical application. And I remember growing up, even with my mom as a young kid, my mom was there growing up, and I'd have to make a decision. And she said, get out a piece of paper, and at the very top, do a plus sign and do a minus sign, draw the headers and a line down the middle of the page, and decide, what are all the pros, what are all the benefits if this change happens? What are all the cons? What are all the negative things that are going to happen? And we do this with clients. I do this with my coaching clients, because they got to figure out, do you guys even want to do this? We talked about that question in the previous video of, do you even want to create change? Or are you just talking, or you actually want to do something? And part of this process is weighing the pros and cons. Part of my work that I do with Marshall Goldsmith's Stakeholder Center Coaching is weighing the pros and cons. And how do we want to navigate this? Like, do the pros outweigh the cons? Because if there's 27 things that could go wrong and only 2 pros for doing this change, personally, I don't think I'd really be going for it unless they're like 2 substantial things. So let's think about this. If we're creating change, just do a basic pros and cons list, a benefit and a cost benefit analysis. A lot of folks have heard that before. And get out the piece of paper and weigh the pros, weigh the cons, and just decide, is this something that you really want to do? Is there enough benefit for you to be able to overcome the objections, the resistance that may be there? I spent 7 years within Farm Credit, and they had more analogies for more things, and they always have one-liners for these various meetings. And it was always so funny. And this one quote always comes back. I remember sitting in the boardroom with the chief credit officer, and we're in the table, and we're looking at loan packages, and I'm just kind of an attendee that's in the room listening, and they go through the whole loan package, and they're looking at it. And they're basically doing a cost-benefit analysis. Do we want to lend this kind of money? What are the pros and the cons of this? And the executive says this one thing. Is the juice worth the squeeze? I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. And so if it wasn't worth the squeeze, then the loan package would get turned down, or different terms would be presented. The same thing happens when we create a cost-benefit analysis. Same thing happens when mom would tell me to put a plus and a minus on the top of a page, draw a line down the middle, and figure out, do the pros outweigh the cons? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And so that's part of the change. Is it even worth it? How often are you, when you're starting out and you're living in an apartment and you want to go buy your first house, or you're in your current house and you're busting at the seams? Do the pros outweigh the cons? Does the bigger mortgage outweigh the fact that you're going to have a backyard and a garage and space to have an exercise room? What are the pros? What are the cons? Does it outweigh do the pros outweigh the cons? So to create change, sometimes we got to get back into practical applications and be able to realize this. So today we're talking about change. Number 6 that we've talked about, I did a whole video of 5 other topics that deal with change. Number 6 is, if you're uncomfortable, then change is taking place. Number 7 is, growth scares other people, probably more than it scares yourself, because it's going to make them uncomfortable. Number 8, weigh the pros and cons. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Number 9, communication. Oh my gosh, y'all. We could talk about communication all day long. Communication is the fundamental, just a business fundamental, a relationship fundamental to everything. Communication is so important. And so when we're creating change, we have to realize that we have to over communicate to other people. I remember speaking training people for the first time, and I'm super quiet. Nobody can hear me. And I've got to get my voice to the back of the room. And we didn't have a speaker system or anything or a microphone. So I had to figure it out. And I know that when I felt like I was screaming to the back of the room, they told me that they could just barely hear me. And so I knew that I had to exaggerate those communications. And so even though I exaggerated my voice, let's think about it. Do we need to exaggerate how many times we're telling people what to do? I've got a project right now where I really want to focus on one particular thing, and I sound like a broken record because I am constantly reiterating that this is the number one priority. This is what our focus is on for the next 60 days. That's it. Nothing else. I want prioritization on that. The only way I can get communication to be effectively delivered is for me to be consistent with it. I have to articulate it. I have to communicate with it. And we have to know that we've got to be consistent in our communication. It all, of course, boils down to communication fundamentals. And so communication and change go hand in hand. And if we don't let other people around us know that we're creating change, they're going to start telling stories in their head. And instead of listening to what you're doing, they're wondering, why are they doing this? What's going on? Why are they acting in this weird behavior? All the benefit of the change is going to be not focused on you and the change that you're creating. It's going to be focused, that individual is going to be wondering, why are they doing this? Why are they acting weird? Why are they eating a salad and not a cheeseburger? I don't understand. They're missing all of your communication if you do not clearly articulate to them, hey, I'm going to eat a salad a couple times a week instead of a cheeseburger every day because I realized that over the holidays, my pants no longer fit. We've got to communicate with others. Otherwise, they're just going to be telling stories in their head about why this person is acting differently. Doesn't make any sense. So now instead of engaging in the change, they're resisting it, going, well, this doesn't reconcile. I wonder what's going on with this person. And they're not paying attention. So think about it. If you're creating change, you've got to figure out a way. We have to figure out a way to communicate to other people. And I like to keep communication simple. And I also like to let people know that this is not some idea that I'm going to stick with forever and ever. I'll let them know, hey, I'm going to try to eat differently for a couple of weeks, for 2 weeks, and I'm just going to see how it goes. Okay, it's an experiment. I let them know ahead of time. I won't be ordering the cheesecake and the pitcher of margaritas. I'm going to just try to eat healthy for 2 weeks, and then I'll see. When I let them know, then they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, that's why they're acting weird. That's why they're ordering a salad. That's why they're getting to the meeting on time. They're just trying new things. So if we try something new with time management at the workplace, and our idea of time management is to get to the meetings on time, to start on time, to be able to have an agenda. If you showed up on time with an agenda and you were just hard set on starting that meeting at the top of the hour, normally you start at 12 minutes late. Everybody else is going to be like, why are they railroading us into this meeting? And I always have 12 minutes lead time and there's never an agenda. What's up with this? Ooh, they must be about to get written up or they're going to get fired or something's happening. What's happening? They're not even paying attention to the meeting anymore. Now they're wondering, why can't we start 12 minutes late? And why do we have this agenda? Like nobody's ever used an agenda before. So if you're working on time management, communicate with other people as you're creating the change. Communicate with other people. Hey, I'm working on time management. Part of that is I'm going to start the meetings on time and I'm going to have an agenda. Just let people know. Those simple sentences break down the drama that other people are going to be creating in their own heads because you just clearly articulated that you're working on something for yourself. If you listen to the other video, the first 5 topics, you know, change starts with yourself. And so when we communicate with other people, this is what I'm doing and why, it just puts them at ease for them to realize, oh, okay, they're just going to try it. And I always let people know, hey, I'm just going to try this for 2 weeks, or I'm going to try this for 3 months, or I'm going to try this for whatever the time frame is, because otherwise, you know, I may not like it. I may not want to keep doing this kind of stuff. I may want to go back to having dysfunctional time management. I don't know. But that way I've got an exit that's already there. So communicate with others. Otherwise, they're going to wonder and they're going to go down some rabbit hole about why we're creating change. And then the gossip starts. And then you got to unravel that whole thing. So just let people know, hey, I'm going to try some new time management tricks for 2 weeks and I'm going to see how it works. puts other people at ease, and it allows us to be able to try new stuff. All right, so number 10. So I had a video of 5 items. We've got this video of number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Just to kind of recap, number 6 was if you're uncomfortable, then change is taking place. Number 7 is growth scares other people. Remember the crabs in the pot. They're going to keep trying to pull you down. So what's your game plan to work around that? And just be aware that this is happening. Number 8 is do the pros and the cons. How do they fare out on a piece of paper? Or as my old farm credit friends would say, is the juice worth the squeeze? Number 9, communicate. If we do not communicate with others, they're going to start telling stories and they're going to start chasing squirrels and rabbits and everything else, and they're not going to pay attention to what we're trying to do to create the change. And the last thing that I want to be able to share with you is number 10, which is remember that we're all human. So think about it. We're all human. We're trying to create change, and we need to remember that we need to have courage, discipline, and humility in order to create change. If we're creating change, there's a whole lot of humility that comes with it because we're probably going to make mistakes with it. And if we're not making mistakes, then we're not learning, we're not growing, we're not creating change. And we got to have a little bit of humility. Nobody likes a know-it-all person that rolls in and gets it all perfect every time. Share the stories of how we're learning along the way. Share the mistakes that we're doing along the way. Make fun a little bit, show the human side of the element of change. I shared with you how I screwed up listening to a CEO who just wanted to vent, and really they just wanted to vent, and I took it as like, oh, we need to solve these problems ASAP. I made a mistake. I got lots of stories like that. So, share the humility along the way. Also, to create change, we got to be able to have the discipline to show up every single day and make those decisions that are going to lead us to the change that we want to make. Discipline is hard. It is hard to get up and go to the gym every day. It is hard to show up every day to work on time, to get the emails responded to within 24 hours. These are all decisions that we make, but this is the daily discipline that we decide to take. If we have the discipline to show up every day and continue to make the best decisions that we can with what we've got, over the long term, success will be there for us, or we will have new opportunities waiting for us as well. So that comes with the discipline of us saying that we're going to show up every day and do the best that we can. All of this change, everything has to do with the courage. So do we have the courage to continue to make these hard decisions? Do we have the courage not to be the crab in the pot pulling somebody down? Do we have the courage to say, that's an attaboy. Like, I'm proud of you for going up there and speaking. I'm proud of you for, voicing your opinion and being able to share different thoughts at that meeting. How are we showing courage as a leader every day? Leadership and change takes courage, discipline, and humility. That ties into Marshall Goldsmith Stakeholder Center Coaching, which I love being able to use with my clients. And knowing that all of this, all the change, everything that we're going to be doing going forward, creates opportunity. But to create opportunity, we got to have a whole lot of courage, because there's going to be fails if we take chances, if we take risk. There's going to be fails along the way. So remember that those that are failing a lot are trying a lot, and they have a lot of courage. So I appreciate you letting me share these with you. If you're curious, you want to keep learning, you can reach out to me at catherinecantey.com. If you're curious and you want to have 90 days of power coaching with me, I'm taking three folks in the first quarter. The application process is open in December. And if you would like an application, send me an email at team@catherinecantey.com. You'll meet with me one-on-one for those 90 days, and we will tailor a plan to fit your needs, your unique needs. And I will take all of my knowledge, experience, and resources that I have and pour them into you for 90 days. And I would be excited to be able to hear from you and what your needs are, so we can tailor a plan that sets you up for success for the first quarter of this new year. And if there is anything that we can do for you in the meantime, please let me know. And the reason I'm doing all this is because I've had countless people pour into me, and I want to continue to pay it forward. That's the only way I know how to do this. So thanks so much for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.